Good day, everyone. This is Althea Genetrella, and I'm going to discuss what's all about the global village and the cultural imperialism. Herbert Marshall McLuhan is the one who introduced the global village and the cultural imperialism. He is a communication theorist that is born on 21st of July 1911 in Edmonton. He died at 31st of December year 1980 in Toronto. He is a professor of English at the University of Toronto. McLuhan became internationally famous during the 1960s for his studies of the effects of mass media on thought and behavior. So let's define what is the term global village and the cultural imperialism. Let's go first with the global village. So the late Marshall McLuhan coined the term global village in 1964 to describe the phenomenon of the world's culture shrinking and expanding at the same time due to pervasive technological advances that allow for the instantaneous sharing of culture. And the cultural imperialism refers most broadly to the exercise of domination in cultural relationships in which the values, practices, and meanings of a powerful foreign culture are imposed upon one or more native cultures. McLuhan used his analysis of technology to examine the impact of electronic media. Since he was writing around the 1960s, he mainly analyzed the social changes brought about by television. So McLuhan declared that television was turning the world into a global village. By this, he meant that as more and more people sat down in front of their television sets and listened to the same stories, their perception of the world would contract. So the television here has a effect on the daily lives of people, most especially on the way how they think. So if tribal villages once sat in front of fires to listen to collective stories, the members of the new global village would sit in front of bright boxes in their living rooms. In the years after McLuhan, media scholars further grappled with the challenges of a global media culture. A lot of these early thinkers assumed that global media had a tendency of homogenize culture. They argued that as global media spread, people from all over the world would begin to watch, listen to, and read the same things. This thinking arose at a time when America's power had turned it into the world's cultural heavyweight. Commentators, therefore, believed that media globalization coupled with American hegemony would create a form of cultural imperialism, whereby American values and culture would overwhelm all others. So in 1976, media circle Herbert Scheller argued that not only was the world being Americanized, but that this process also led to the spread of American capitalist values like consumerism. Similarly, for John Tomlinson, cultural globalization is simply a euphemism for Western cultural imperialism, since it promotes homogenized, westernized, and consumer culture. These scholars who decry cultural imperialism however, have a top-down view of the media, since they are more concerned with the broad structures that determine media content. Moreover, their focus on America has led them to neglect other global flows of information that the media can enable. This media or cultural imperialism theory has therefore been subject to significant critique.